And sure, teach your kids another language. What a beautiful thing to do. We think expansively in another language. It's great. But do it as an American whose first language is English. Start there. And then appreciate and don't appropriate another culture.
That's right. Appreciate, don't appropriate.
How do we appreciate other cultures? We support the people. We support their human rights. That's where we start.
Sure. Absolutely.
In this podcast, at one point, Hilaria was telling somebody that her breast got bigger or smaller, I can't remember which, when she was swimming. That the act of swimming made her breasts either larger or smaller.
She was doing the breaststroke, though.
And I think that's where her mind went.
It must have been.
I think you're closer to the mind of Hilaria than anybody right now. It's almost a stream of consciousness, especially as she writes.
Yeah.
She'll write these Instagram captions, and she's trying to make up for potentially her real deficits in writing. And so, not that we're going to judge her that she can't pull a coherent thought together or write a complete sentence in English. We're just noting that she may have been making up for her insecurity and real problems with English, her first language.
Sure.
Where does that put her in terms of our ability to empathize with a race faker and cultural appropriator?
You mean the fact that she does have real issues, maybe some learning disability type issues, or...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, which... Yeah, I mean, I'm sympathetic to that, for sure. You know, that's something a lot of people struggle with. Not everybody makes up the excuse that they're actually from another country.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes it a little bit different. But
we just can't find a way to make it okay, and we've really tried.
Mm-hmm. We're given a lot of leeway.
And we're saying it's not okay.
No, it's not okay.
And so what are ways to repair that? What do reparations look like?
Reparations.
For the harm that she's caused, and one of the ways that she caused harm was pretending to be Hispanic, Latina, taking opportunities away from Hispanic and Latina women, like being on the cover of Hola magazine, being given this award for Best Dressed Latina, and not saying the truth.
Yeah.
She was also making a lot of money, presumably in endorsements. She was on the Wendy Williams show advertising a detergent, and she was saying that her life is full of stains and laundry, and trying to be relatable and pretend that nannies don't do all that work for her. So she's taking credit for what people she pays to raise her children are doing for her. Right. And by the way, I think for probably Alec also, that you're raised as a child by your parents, presumably. In this case, the children presumably are raised by a team of nannies, and they're rotating them out a lot. And in some instances, a woman may do that when she feels threatened by the nanny, that the child is bonding with the nanny first.
Sure.
And
which it would, I mean.
And so that means the child will not fully bond with anyone because it sort of breaks those bonds real young.
Sure, yeah.
And so presumably later on, if the children are listening, we're rooting for you and we're so sorry. We're doing everything we can.
Yeah.
We're doing this podcast for you. Sorry. Because they're probably going to say thanks, but no thanks.
Right.
You're exploiting us too.
This is,
so.
Yeah, this is not, we didn't ask for this. So.
Yeah.
Which, true.
Ultimately, we fear that their ability to bond will be broken and that they'll need a level of, whether it's peer therapy, dog therapy, whatever therapy they find, to make them feel whole again, or whole, to be able to bond with other people, to trust and feel loved, and for no reason other than that they're walking the earth together. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
You don't have to earn your place. And in so many families, I know in mine, I don't know about yours, we really do have to earn a place in our family.
No, I mean, in my family, the way you earn your place is by being born male. It wasn't that hard for me, in other words. But, yeah. But no, yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure a thing.
And how do you feel about your responsibility as a higher caste member? And when I talk about caste, sometimes we say class in America, but what we're really talking about is caste. What do you have to say about American caste system?
Well, it's interesting. No, I hadn't thought of it as a caste system. I mean, I think of it in terms of class, but what is really the distinction there? I'm not sure.
If we're talking about Hilaria and Alec in the Hamptons, how would you think about the people in the Hamptons as the upper echelon?
Sure. Yeah, no, they're the, I guess, elite.
And the people working for them, the pool boy, for example, or the maid, would be what?
Well, I mean, they'd certainly be working class, proletariat.
So we very much have a caste system here in America. If you're listening from India, for example, we are big fans of Bollywood, and we love India.
The caste system, I think, it's a little bit different because it is an official kind of thing. In America, it's based on certain criteria, but it's not. You're not necessarily assigned it at birth. I mean, you are in a way.
About 3%
we don't
up,
have
right.
We don't have for one thing, we don't have categories for people necessarily where it's like you have Brahmins or whatever.
Very few people go.
No, I mean I'm not saying there's not social mobility in here either.
Very little social mobility here. 3%.
I'm just it's more of an official. The caste system is a little bit more. It's acknowledging it. It's acknowledging that there are classes, and it's giving them names, and it's regimented. It's not.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court has just made being homeless illegal. What do you think about that? Especially in California, where they've cleared out people who have nowhere to go.
No, yeah, thanks a lot for that, Newsom.
This is a Democrat.
Great job. Yeah. Yeah. That's
a liberal state.
A liberal state with a liberal.
Oh, the Supreme Court just gave us permission to make them what they say someone else's problem, which used to be shameful for a mayor to do that. If they were caught here in Alabama, there's our church bells.
Church bells.
If here in Alabama, if you're a mayor caught moving unhoused people to the next town, that's shameful. This man is doing it in plain sight.
And basically...
and calling the Supreme Court, well, look, it's the law. We have to follow the law.
Right. Now, I think that technically what the Supreme Court ruling was that cities and states and municipalities can are able to make homelessness illegal.
Yeah, and so when we're talking about the people of the Hamptons, these are white people, rich people, very rich people, famous people, some of them, and they're living in a different reality. If we're talking about India, as we mentioned, we're big fans of India, not big fans of the spiritual reasons that the Dalits or the untouchables would be part of a society where the Brahmins, as you mentioned, are godlike.
Mm-hmm.
Not big fans of that.
Yeah.
But also we recognize that in the United States, we can't really judge because we have our own case.
Well, the United States case, there's this conception of the United States that there's no classes, right? It doesn't exist here.
Yeah, the CEO is talking to the janitor as if he's a human being.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's not official, and that's what I was saying with like the caste system. It's not like codified. It's
yeah, and the economic justice is not an issue. Well, the CEO makes this $1 million, this $1 million bonus, and he's perfectly okay with the economic injustice of what he pays his workers and the janitor, and to say, oh, but I'm making up for it. Look, I talked to him as if he's a human being.
Well, and so part of the myth of American, I think, is that the janitor is thinking, well, one day I could be the CEO, and that's what, it's kind of like the what is the quote, that there are no poor people in America, just temporarily embarrassed rich people, right?
Yeah, and so when you
everybody
talk about
everybody thinks they can be rich.
The American dream, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially now with social media, you can be famous with your TikTok videos on the thirst game of social media.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Hamptons people, it's a little bit like high school. So we can say Hilaria and Alec are pariahs of the Hampton scene. But are we really going to leave it there and say, well, they deserve it? Or are we going to get a closer look and examine what is the Hampton scene?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is that entrenched caste system of white people?
Yeah. Which,
the Hamptons.
It clearly is.
And fuck all those people, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much.